No, man, this is the classiest this podcast has ever been.
It is. It is. It's not my Easter suit, but it's close.
It's close?
It's close. This is my casual Mark Cuban-esque, I'm going to be a millionaire the next 2 years look.
I got you.
If I can't, I'll fake it till I make it.
Mm-hmm. That's what you got to do, right?
Not mad at it at all, man.
Damn. This just feels right. It feels right to have a cigar.
So could you dress like this you do this already. Could you dress like this every day?
No, man, I'm like my wife. I was in the closet today. I'm like, okay, what do I wear? What do I wear? Does this go with this? Honey, does this make my ass look fat?
I had my shit laid out for like 3 days. When you said Adam, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lay it out because remember I've been talking about this. I said, white collared shirt, brand new white Kohans, jeans. I'm ready for this. And he said, we got Adam this week. I said, ha! I get to wear it. Like literally, we're sleeping on the bed with my outfit in the middle. My wife was like, really? I said, just leave it there. I just want to see how it looks. And now I get to wear it.
Is it cumbersome for you to?
Oh, this is comfortable for me.
This is just your world.
I love it. Like, I mean, it's the reason why I got into it was because I like dressing up. My dad was military, so he always had me dress up.
My son
taught me how to iron when I was like 9.
My grandmother raised us the same way. But I'm old school. We used to crease jeans. We'll talk about that later.
Well, no, that's the funny story. Was my dad? I was going to school in 3rd or 4th grade, and these kids were making fun of me because I had like creases right down the middle of my jeans.
We used to crease jeans for it. That was it.
So my dad, I said, Dad, you got to stop putting creases in my jeans, and he was like, if you don't want any creases in your jeans, you got to learn to iron. So I learned to iron at a very young age.
Now you're doing flat. Man, we used to remember the blue starch, the liquid starch you had to mix with water, and the more starch you use, I mean, my jeans could literally stand up on their own.
I'll give you one even more old school. My dad literally sewed pleats into his jeans when he was young. When I was young.
Nah, your dad is old school.
He sewed them in there so he didn't have to worry about creasing them when he ironed them.
No way.
That was the old school way to do it. Just iron the pleat, sew the pleat right in the jean.
Into the jean. The only other person I know is Reggie Frazier, who he'll come in with pleated sweatpants. This dude, he comes in and those things are starched.
He has crease starched in his pajamas. are like A1 probably. Like he doesn't play, but like my son who's military now, and my son has, man, like he's literally. We have to talk because he may have came from you somehow somewhere because he's so you. Like I was just.
I used to be a milkman for a while.
That maybe, bro. Because I'm telling you, my son is like, and these are his exact words. We were leaving to go somewhere, and I'm like, Michael, dude, we're just going to Walmart. What's taking you so long to get dressed? He says, Father, I never wear leisure wear outside of the house. And he walks out the house looking like him everywhere we go, and he only like. Have you ever heard of Killian Hennessy cologne?
Sounds expensive.
Very. Like he doesn't wear nothing, and he's not a snob. He just doesn't believe in not looking 100% every time he leaves. I said the only time I have on athletic gear is if I'm at the gym.
That's the same.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the same with me. Or if you catch me even at a coffee shop with that on, I just came from the gym or about to go to the gym.
He wears an Army uniform for work, and if he's not in that, he's this.
Well, speaking of not stepping out on the wrong foot. Cheers, gentlemen.
Oh, definitely.
So, Adam, who is here, for those of you who are just listening, we are all kind of suited and booted, and you're not used to seeing Biz and myself like this.
Nah.
But it's because, I suppose, birds of a feather, right? And it's pretty cool when you get an opportunity to just come together and enjoy yourself and have a cigar with people you like being around. Although this is the Go Local Unfiltered podcast for our marketing agency, this is without a cigar and without a drink, the conversation is a little dry.
Doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right.
Last couple episodes, I had cigars and coffee, and I was pissed off. So now we're back to normal.
Mm-hmm. And let's be real clear, it's still morning.
It is, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
But if you're sitting with the real Great Gatsby, Adam, then you've got to figure that out. I mean, like, how do you? Right now, you're a clothier. How do you? What would you say? What's your
proper
title?
term? Haberdasher.
Haberdasher is a great word. I mean, clothier is a word that a lot of people use now.
That's real. I didn't know that.
I'm going with haberdasher though. I didn't know that.
I like haberdasher.
I learned that term in a Spider-Man comic book when I was like in 4th grade. Spider-Man ripped his costume and said, "Where's a haberdasher when you need one?" And I was like, "What the hell is this?" And I had to go look it up in a Webster's dictionary, not Google it. We didn't have Google. Webster dictionary, and I seen haberdasher, and I was like, and that's stuck with me. Now I get to finally use it because you're here.
A haberdasher. What in the hell is a haberdasher?
Haberdasher.
It's just, it just embodies everything when it comes to clothing and accessories and just, dressing up and just kind of the whole aspect of it of custom clothing. Haberdashers were, over in Seville Row, the haberdashers, the tailors and things like that. Bespoke tailoring. Everybody says Italy modernized it. Europe, Seville Row is where it came from.
Seville Row, is that in Spain?
England.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where it started then.
That's where I think it started. This is a fight between Italy and,
think about the movie.
It always happens like that, but I go, Italy modernized it, kind of that's where you get that European cut and things like that.
Think about the movie Kingsman.
Yep.
Where they went into, and that's what that kind of was, that row of that clothing store, that feel, that whole look or whatever. But I've always thought Italy was like the leader in all of the chic styles and modernization of fashion.
And that's kind of what it is. I feel like but we still go back, and right now we're very English on what the new styles are right now. Big, bold plaid patterns, wearing bold suits, and now all that we're doing right now is that really English style with more of a tapered bottom, where before we're kind of like living in the 70s right now with the clothing, but with more of a tapered look.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like just overall our culture, history repeats itself, especially stylistically. But if we look at the movies, we look at the cars, we look at everything that's kind of out and hot, 70s is definitely that era.
And I always say there is nothing that nobody hasn't thought of in the clothing aspect world. It's just somebody taking this decade and this decade, putting it together and designing it. There is nothing nobody thought of. And I had a rude awakening when one of the first designs I ever did, probably 15 years ago. It was a sport coat, and I was like, there is nothing out there like this. I was like, nothing. Then I was watching an old movie with Cary Grant in it, and he knocks on the door, and he opens up the door, and he's literally wearing that design. So for some reason, probably the last time I saw that was probably when I was like in 6th grade. But for some reason, it stuck with me because I made that design. I'm like, nobody has this. And then he opened the door, and it was pretty much the same exact design and this is what, in the 50s, 40s that the design was around.
It's wild. And it's something that, each decade had its individual style, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all the way up. But it seemed like maybe it's just me hating on our own generation, but it seems like right now there is no real 2020 style. Aside from a mask, but there is no 2021, here's the 20s like the flappers had, like the roaring 20s had back then. It seems like it just kind of muddled up.
I agree with that. Like it's becoming more casual. Like the styles now, even when people are wearing suits now, it's definitely more casual even with the suits.
Well, I made the analogy, and that's why I kind of like this style. So I first started noticing, they said the uniform of the rich, which was a blazer, jeans, a button-up, untucked, and some casual shoes. Now I'm looking at Family Feud the other day. Steve Harvey is the man about suits. But Steve Harvey is wearing some straight up Reebok white crispy sneakers.
And it kills me.
With the full suit. And I'm like,
it kills me.
That looked kind of corny because now the blazer jean look, I'm with that. I think it looks fly.
So,
the suit?
That's exactly what I tell everybody. Like, I do not have a problem with the right tennis shoes with a suit. But the suit design has to be right too. You can't put a 3-piece pinstripe and then put some Chuck Taylors on and then go outside. Like that to me, like
foul.
I think whoever's doing who's the guy on inside the NBA?
No, I was about
Kenny Smith.
He'll know better than me.
I'm not sure. I have no idea.
It's not,
If it ain't football,
Shaq,
I don't know
It's not
it.
Barkley. It's Kenny Smith.
Oh, on TV or TNT?
Yeah.
Yes.
So like his tailor, like he's on point with his tailoring and everything like that. And then you see him run to the screen and he's got these tennis shoes on with this beautiful suit, and I'm going, just casual. Sometimes he does it right and he casuals it up. And meaning casual it up, you can, like the jacket I got on right now with patch pockets, this is more a very casual jacket. Even the fabric's very casual. So that's why I got my tennis shoes on. But I'm not wearing Jordans, high top Jordans with these.
No, those are casual, nice sneakers.
Yeah. So there is a dress sneaker thing. Same thing with you. You got they're a dressier sneaker. Now, don't get me wrong. There's like special occasions. Somebody's getting married and their whole theme is wearing a tuxedo with a pair of Chuck Taylors on.
No problem.
That's no problem. And then like there's a couple charities out there that it's all about tennis shoes, but you got to dress up like you're at a gala, but you have to wear tennis shoes. I think that's awesome. When you see a woman in a long ball gown on, a gown on, and then she's got some high top Jordan 11s on. It's pretty cool, for a charity. But
dude, just name my favorite pair. Go ahead.
The 11s. Yes. Which ones are the 11s?
13s. The 11s.
Those are the ones with the
patent leather around the toe.
On them.
No.
And then the 13s are the ones I took to Nicaragua. Those are the only two that I wear.
I have about 7 pair of the Jordan 11 Air Max Mix lows. The
I didn't
Jordan
know they made those in lows.
They do hybrids. Yeah.
The hybrids. So they're the Jordan 11s, and they got the Air Max bottoms, and then they still got the patent leather around them. I've
only seen one pair, and it was the black and whites. I've never seen them.
I got the South Beach ones.
See, this haberdasher, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
connoisseur of all things.
I played a little basketball in my life too. So
okay. See, we got some time to get into some things. So I'll say this: with all that, what made you go this route? Does it go back to what we were talking about with your dad and dressing you? Because when we first got a chance to sit and talk, I'm like, because you got to understand, when he walks in, this man is always clean, always taking notice. I'm like, then I noticed that's what he does for a living. So it just makes me wonder, what makes one take this path?
For me, it was just, again, just like that. My dad started me, and then it was just, I love getting dressed up. I think your mindset's different. There's a reason why there's a method to the Catholic school and the uniform madness. It's because when you're dressed up like that, when you had jeans day, anybody go to a uniform school?
Yeah.
Okay. When you have jeans day, how lazy did you feel, and how chaotic, not chaotic, but how different was the feel of when you were on there jeans day Friday? Nobody wanted to be there. No one cared. Now, if you were doing it on a regular basis, it's a different thing. But when we had to dress up, like if we had our shirt untucked, we were getting yelled at. Like that's how it was, but
it's like the military.
But your attention was different. Like you were more attentive. I didn't feel like jeans day Friday. I'm sitting there, my feet are stretched out, in my seat at school. And
so your mindset changed.
Your mindset changes.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more, because you have to take that. If I'm just wearing normal stuff and I've got a polo with some jeans and whatever, when I'm leaving the house, I'm not going, am I lined up? But this morning I'm going, I'm gonna be on camera.
Yeah,
I've got
man,
this.
I shaved and everything this morning. Yeah,
it's
you're
like
right.
You pay attention to what you do, and then when you leave the house, you're putting your best foot forward. So your actions are gonna follow that. When you shake somebody's hand, or just the way, like this is the way it is in football and in motocross and in everything, right? You look good, you play good. Where if you walk in and you look the best you can look, and you catch that attention from someone, and that their first impression is always eternal, but they give that, or if they've seen you before, like, damn, what are you doing today? It's like,
and anybody that says first impression isn't nothing is a liar.
You only get one chance at a first impression.
Yeah, you only get one chance, and first impression, and it doesn't mean being casually dressed is a bad first impression. It's just first impression of everything. If I sat here and I walked in here in my basketball shorts, and then I told you all I was a haberdasher, you're going to be looking at me like, and this is the first time we met, you're going to be looking at me like, why would I ever buy anything? And I've seen people do that. This is what I do, so why would I go to meetings or go to anything in t-shirts and jeans?
One of the greatest things I just read, 50 Cent's book, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter, just read it, and he said this quote. A guy came to interview him from GQ magazine, and the guy showed up and T-shirt and jeans. And 50 is very conscious about what he wears. So he looked at him and he says, so I have a question. You came looking like this to interview me. What is the guy that's interviewing George Clooney right now? How is he dressed? And he said, well, I thought that you're 50, this is rapping, da, da, da. He says, yeah, but so 50 after the interview was over, he said, I challenge you tomorrow to go to the office, suited and booted, put on a nice jacket, just that and the third. And the people in the office were so amazed at GQ magazine, how this guy looked. They put him on they featured him on the Instagram that day. And you know who he interviewed the next week? George Clooney.
No shit.
Really, I was just like, that's
and it's truth. When I lived in Vegas, I was looking at a house. Now, you see all the cars. Real estate people give you the car, and they're all suited up in their suits and things like that. Well, a guy passed me a card. They always put their picture on it because that's their face. They want to get you comfortable, with the real estate stuff, and they, in a suit. So I never met the guy before. So the first house we went to, I'm in a 3-piece suit. My girlfriend at the time was, dressed in a nice business suit, and we're walking up to the house, and the guy gets out of his car and he comes up to us, and I'm thinking he's just opened the door. He's got jeans on. He looked like he had a long night last night, T-shirt, and shoes I don't even think were tied. And I go, hey, you just opened, when's the real estate guy going to? He goes, I am your real estate agent. And I looked at him, I go, this will be the last house you show me. And then it might sound snobby, but it's really not. If I'm coming here like this just to look at a house and you coming in looking like that, it's, again, first impression. It's not the thing that you could be the best guy. You could be the most awesome real estate agent in the world, but it's disrespectful to me that I came like this and you came just looking like
false advertising. It's developing.
It's false advertising.
There's no pride. There's no nothing.
This isn't the same person that I'm seeing on all the real estate cards that you're handing out.
It really comes down to building your personal brand and who you are. And I think there are a few ways to do that, right? Aesthetically, you have your hair, you have your dress, you have your sneakers, you have very few things that you can interchange and develop who your brand is. And then you have interpersonally, you have your character, you have your reputation, you have your work ethic, you have a few of those things. You control all of that. And where I see your advantage to this is when I go in the closet, I'm going, I've got this deal when I used to work an old shitty job that office job, I had to suit up. So I've got all of these suits. It's foreign to me now. And it's the same conversation that I had with Tony Horton when I was working with Tony Horton, which is you have the biggest advantage of anyone that I know. You have to stay in shape. If you can't do 50 pull-ups when you're 60 years old, you stop selling shit. Same thing for you. If you walk in and go, I'm going to dress down today, you've just lost an element of your brand. Now, you can always recover that, but you have to do that because that's what your brand is. Do you ever feel entrapped by that?
Not at all, because I love dressing up. Like it's not even dressing up to me. Like it's just I love to dress like this. You
get a feeling of euphoria when you get new clothes. Even in my kids, we just came back and I bought the kids some really dope winter clothes for next year. They're growing, they're getting big, and I come downstairs and Jesse's in his brand new sweater and everything. I was like, dummy, it's 102 degrees outside. He's like, but I look good, don't I? If you don't get your ass out of them clothes and put them back in the closet, but he couldn't wait to put them on.
Yep.
And it's you do get such a, dude, I didn't even need gas this morning. I stopped and got gas because I felt I looked good. And I had two people say, hey, what do you do? I'm like, shit.
I still feel the same. I still feel the same way. I got stuff coming in for a couple events, and I can't wait for them to come in. I'm already I'm telling people about you
ain't seen.
Yeah, because somebody came. We're supposed to be doing an event with Rodney and Ken Hamlin and stuff, and Ken dresses. Nice. Ken Hamlin can dress. So I told him, and he's like, man, I know I got to come with my game.
And that's where I'm at in life, where I made a decision a few months ago, getting ready to turn 50 this year and looking at things. And it's the long story we told about. I've upped the bar in who I now associate with. And it's like I wanted to change my style. I really wanted to grow up because I've been always just super cat, a lot of polo shirts and whatever. I've been shopping like crazy at Men's Warehouse. I'm about to start buying stuff with you, looking at it. I went home to Omaha last fall or winter, And no, it was still kind of summerish because I always wear linen in the summer. So when I walk into a spot, I have on ostrich cowboy boots, linen pants, linen shirt with a nice jacket, and they was like, damn. Who are you and where are you from? I'm like, I'm me. But my brothers were with me and they had on Jordans, shorts, t-shirt. And the guy said, well, you can get in because you know how to dress. These two guys can't get in. Mm-hmm. And they're like, man, these Jordans cost $400. And
that's my issue with the sneaker game is you have like this personal deal. It's like you're driving a Suzuki Samurai
with rims on it.
Yeah, it's like, no, this is Samurai. Don't you know how much this thing costs? Yeah, but it looks like a shoebox. Nobody gives a shit. It's like other sneakerheads might care, but for me, I know very little about that. But I can see and I can feel somebody's energy when
it's nothing about Jordan. There's some like I love Jordans.
I love Jordans too.
But like there's a time and a place. Like if you're going, if you know you're going to a fine dining restaurant and you know there might be a chance that they don't let you in with those shoes, then why weren't just put. Just
but it's also a mindset in where you're at. Being from a smaller Midwest city, you don't have a lot of places that demand the look of having to wear a 100%. Coat and tie and things like here. And then you get here, even here at the lounge, there's days and stuff like that we've been implementing more of, come dressed the part, come raise your mind. I think it's all just about mindset.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I go back home to Warren, Ohio. I'm Midwest too. So like I go back home to Warren, Ohio and when I grew up, if you had a button-down shirt and a pair of jeans on to go out to with your friends, they were like, "Why are you so dressed up right now?" Mm-hmm. That's how it was. I get it, but after a while, you're just going to do you. Like when you're younger, you're trying to fit in a little bit and not get messed with a little that much. But when I go home now, people just like, "Why did you just come from a wedding?" Like this happens to me here too. Like I'll be out and like. What event are you going to? No, this is just.
See, and I'd accept, like I said, if you was to come in anything else less than this, I'd ask you to take your temperature. I'd be like, "Did something happen? Do we need to talk?" Like it's just that is like Reggie. Same way with Reggie. When Reggie, I had a young lady tell me, we were talking. We were sitting in the front of the lounge talking, and Reggie just walked by. And Reggie always dresses like that, suited up, coated up, always has his cowboy hat, sharp boots. She stopped talking to me just to watch him walk by, and she's like, "Who is that?" I'm like, there's 30 other dudes in here, and he caught your eye. Why? She said, it's just his stature, the way he walks, the way he holds himself. I couldn't stop.
Devil's in the details, right? I mean, overall, that's the mission. And you don't have to wear a 3-piece suit every day. No. But you got to get up and take a shower. Oh, and Lord. you can't be coming here with your all, if that's a business meeting you're having and they're not looking good, tension's in the details. Especially if it's someone that I'm going to hire or work next to or whatever. It's like, if you're not paying attention to what we see, what happens in the dark.
That made something, even in the new normal, Zoom calls. Because you're at home, people have gotten so comfortable, they're getting on Zoom calls looking like they just rolled out of bed. I mean, we have a company Zoom call. I'm super casual because it's just us. But if we do have a client Zoom call, there's a collar on the shirt, everything's done up, whatever, act like you're in person. And that's the new normal.
If I did a Zoom call and I was at the house, if I wasn't dressed, you would not see me you would just hear my voice. That you weren't going to get a picture of me. That's all there was to it. Like, and there was there was a meeting that I did one time back in Vegas, and all my business partners, and this was before I got into the clothing business. We had a big deal that we were trying to close. These guys were coming from New York. And I walk into the office in the morning, and I'm in a 3-piece suit, ready to go. My other business partner is sitting over there in his basketball shorts, and his shoes weren't even tied. No, actually, he had flip-flops on. Ugh. He's playing a video game in the conference room. The lawyer was in in jeans and like the Vegas thing, True Religion jeans and an Affliction T-shirt.
Super duper tight.
And he's the lawyer. So they come in and all 3 of the guys are in a suit, and they walk in. They're like, "Did you guys forget about the meeting?" And they're like, "No." And they didn't even take the meeting from us. They turned around and walked out. And because of my two business partners were. They were like, oh, we don't need them anyways. And I'm going, okay, well, you're not going to need a lot of people because this is going to happen to you often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, know? Lucky for you. Yeah, you won't need a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was just, and the other thing, I get all the time is like, I'll come to you when I'm ready, ready to spend some money. And I'm like, what I had to realize when I first started, it took me about 2 years because I got so frustrated when I was trying to sell it at the beginning because, I'm selling custom. And then also my time is worth money. So, when I was in Vegas, I was selling, my average price was $1,600 a suit, and so I had to get out of things because it was tough for me at the beginning to build clientele at that price point when you got people selling, $700-800 suits off the rack. Now but what my thought process had to be was I was sitting there and I was working with a guy, and he looked at me. He's, I'm gonna buy a suit from you one day. But I just so expensive. And I go, okay, well, he come in a suit because we had to wear a suit every day. And he come in some really nice. He had one of the best sunglass collection I've ever seen. Like every other day, he was having a new pair of sunglasses on. He goes, I won't spend over $350 for a suit. I go, what?
But them Oakleys,
and I said, but the
$300.
Sunglasses you got on are $450. And he even stopped, and he was like, huh. Everybody spends money on something. It just might not be what I'm selling. And that's fine, because that is what it is, but everybody spends money on something. Like, I've had times where, I'll sit there with a guy that just pulled up in a Rolls Royce, and he's balking at me for $1,000 suit. And he just rolled up in a Rolls Royce. But he spent his money on his Rolls Royce. It's what they, and it was frustrating at the beginning, but now it's just, because I have guys that will spend thousands of dollars with me, and they're a janitor because that's what they spend their money on. Mm-hmm. It's just figuring out the people and figuring out what you sell it.
So how do you find that? Because you find yourself in, I don't want to say you find yourself in a niche, but there is a certain element of clientele,
You're
right?
Absolutely right. So it's my personal, I'm a client to client basis right now. And I've been client to client basis. I haven't really I'm thinking about opening up a store next year, but right now, like, it's all client to client, my personal relationships. Like, you guys, I would have never met you guys if I didn't sit and talk to you guys for a while, and our connection was cigars. Mm-hmm. But that's what it is like most of my clients, I'm not looking for hundreds of thousands of clients. I'm looking for the right clients that want to come back to me, and which it's hard because the problem is there's no loyalty really anymore in this business. Like, to have somebody keep coming back to you day in and day out, and knowing what you're giving, and the quality, and the just the camaraderie we have, that's what I want. Mm-hmm. So, like, I don't want hundreds of thousands of clients. If I have 500 clients that come back to me every, when they need stuff, they come to me first. Now, if I can't get it to them, that's fine. But, like, and it is what it is. Like, that's just not the world we live in. We just look for, how can I get this less expensive? Less expensive, more convenient. More convenient. That's the American way. That's exactly. Welcome to Amazon. Way. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I got guys walking up to me going, they want a custom suit, and I need it by, it's Monday, and I need it by Friday. And I just look at them like, what? Like, mm-hmm. Do you know the process? Like, well, you live in the creative world, like what we live in too, and you're right. I would rather be very important to a few than kind of important to a lot. Exactly. And finding that is just a much more painful but long-term rewarding process. Without a doubt, I love the relationships that I built, and I just keep building them off that. Like, I keep building off the friendships I have, or the, just the clients that. Well, and then the referrals pour in, because when somebody sees you and they're like, man, where did you get that done? I got blah, blah. And your clients will actually vet everything for you. Like, if you're going to be on some bullshit, I'm not about to introduce you to this person, because
I already know how you are, bro. So just admire from afar. Go to Men's Warehouse and do what you do. Yep. But if you really want to step your game up and you're not playing, because I'm not going to jeopardize my relationship by bringing you a bunch of BS all the time. A bunch of people that's not serious.
Yeah, and and I don't. I try anymore not to be shut down from. But when somebody says like I usually shop at Men's Warehouse or something like that, I try not to shut down. But the reason I shut down is because they're waiting for that price point from me, and they don't realize that I just I drive out, I come personally to you with everything, and we sit and design. I don't know where you're gonna get that. Men's Warehouse ain't doing that. Like
they're just gonna lay a bunch of stuff out.
You got to realize my service is worth money too. So I used to when I was in Vegas, and I can't. I want to do it. I started doing it again, but like when I was in Vegas, if you made an appointment with me, you had to swipe. You had to give me a credit card to put some money down right off the bat. Because if I traveled to you and then you said, "Oh, let me get back to you in 3 months," I was like, so I just spent 4 hours of my time, and cool. We're if you're a client of mine that's done it, I don't care about that. But like, if I just drove all my way to do that, like.
Well, we live in a world, and I want to hop into that loyalty element, because let's look at the way that other services live, right? Roofing, free estimate. Dent repair, free estimate. We live in this world of free estimates and price-based. I think that's the evil within Amazon, is they're just taking everything and quote unquote, big old quote unquote, supporting local businesses. We know that's dog shit. But it's just a price race to the bottom.
Yep.
And so we're training people that the first visit's free, and that you can get the same thing for a lower quality. We're just, for a lower price for the same quality, quote unquote. But we all know that's not the truth. And I think it's not that the discovery session it's not that those things should be free, but there are certain elements and certain services that are so custom, so time-based, so interpersonally connected, where you can't give up a day of 30 of the month.
The thought process of maybe getting something.
And I think that's the beauty of the world of just word of mouth marketing, is being able to get that through. Just execute on what you said you're going to execute on. But I'm curious why the loyalty element. Some people are pretty loyal to their barbers. But aside from that, loyalty in and of itself,
well, it's
kind of diminished,
just
right?
Being in the cigar business, like finding loyal employees, even in the when I open up a shop, and if I have employees, I'm almost thinking about making them sign some kind of commitment of where you can't go and start your own business. And because a lot of these custom clothing people will do is they'll come in, make the connections, and find out
you have to
what's going on.
It's called a non-compete.
And then they go and take everything that you have and then go start their own. And listen, I love what I do, but especially here in Dallas. When I first came to Dallas, there wasn't many haberdashers, custom clothing people, and that was 2012. I mean, you can go on every corner and there's somebody saying that they're really not custom clothing people. They're so-called stylists or celebrity stylists. But they're not custom. They're not doing custom clothing. They might have a custom clothing guy that they work with, but that's just how it is now. And you guys know me, but I'm not a social media guy, and I know I need to be more. 100% I need to be more.
I know somebody that can help you with that,
but I can't. I think I got a guy too, but I'm not. I think the last time I posted was 2019 New Year's Eve, and it's terrible for my business. I know that, but it's just not. But
is your business still been good?
I mean, it's been solid. But
people stopped going to the office. They stopped having in-person meeting. I was thinking this on the drive over. style, haberdashers had to have been killed.
Oh, it hurt.
And especially when it comes to less convenient on the face, we'll call it less convenient, where you can't just go, yeah, I want that one and a 42L and I'll take that one. See you later.
And honestly, like, I think a lot of guys in my business, were hurt from, the COVID, but you go back to those customers that you've had for 10 years and they understand it, and they saved me in 2020, and I'm not proud to say that. Like, I was.
Well, that goes to
that. I love those guys.
Well, I said that, and I asked that because without social media, you're still solid, is what I'm saying. Which means your reputation.
Because I never based my business off of social media, where
Correct.
like a lot of these guys have based their business off of social media, and they're actually, and maybe I'm wrong on it, but they're not making most of their money on their custom clothing thing. They're making their money off of the advertising from the social media.
Which to me says,
and that's fine. That's
but
great.
you're not getting that tire kicking audience to waste your time, because you have, like I said, I think referral based in your line of work is better because you're getting better quality clients. Handed to you versus. Yeah. The social media thing, like anytime I'm on, I did it. I spent $60 on 6 bars of soap from Dr. Squatch because I just couldn't take it anymore. Because the soap I had, now don't get me wrong, the soap is kind of cool. It's dope. Took forever to get here, but it's whatever. But I succumbed and gave into it and satisfied my curiosity. But it's all about bargaining. But
that's a product,
right? And they sold me on not only how it was made, what it was made of, and that comparing it to your regular off-the-shelf soaps. And I was like, it's kind of cool. Wife even used it. She's like, yo, let me grab that real quick. I said, you want to smell like a man? I want to smell like you. I was like, oh, damn. That's
like that Old Spice commercial, that lavender.
Yeah, exactly.
That lavender deodorant.
But now, so to me, I'm not saying, social media will help. But I kind of like where you're at personally, because it's just going back to, your clientele, your niche, and your niche is feeding you. And it's very particular, so you weed through it. Sometimes social media introduces you to the world, but it introduces you to all the fodder as well.
Especially because you're in Dallas. You're not in Frisco. You're in Dallas. You're in Bishop Arts, right? Down in that area. So that's the home of the 30-year-old, $30,000 millionaire, right? Yeah. So that getting on social media, you just get every dickweed with mommy and daddy's Amex, and then they'll go and they just want to show. They want to say, oh, this suit, custom suit. They want that, and that's not really sustainable.
You also get that one that
I like my personal life. I want my life to actually be a personal life. Like, I don't want to put every emotion that I have out on social media. Or now with my business, like what I want to do with my social media, and like, again, I'm not great at it, but you're just going to see styles. Like, oh, you can do that style? Oh, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could do that.
You're influencing
that's what I want to use my social media for, not because, like, if I go walk around in it, I get a select audience, but that I can bring it out to the masses with the social media.
You can influence people to step their game up. Yeah. To Cam Newton, everybody used to diss him because all the crazy stuff he did, but Cam's influence on his style was so big that I'm a backpack junkie, like crazy, and he came out with a backpack with the company I was looking at, that they did a special Cam Newton backpack. The way it was styled, the color selection, all that stuff, and the colors aren't mine, it's more pastelish type stuff, not me, but people flocked to it, and he had a hand in designing it and looking at it, so that way, in your line of business, if you do that, and if you influence style, then you're not getting a bunch of clients that have what we used to call in the car business beer budget, champagne taste. Because you do waste countless time on everybody's just, man, where's your nickel 99 selection? I can't afford 1,600, but I still want to look like you. And they got to come to grips, like, maybe this isn't for you. I'm not saying you can't look like $1 million, but people don't understand quality. The quality of the fabric, and it's actually suited to you.
And that's where most of the price point comes from. Now, don't get me wrong. When I moved to Dallas, I would have went out of business if I didn't start finding some manufacturers to cut my price down. And I cut my price in half now because, I'm at that. My starting point now is like around $800, and I'm not going any lower than that. Like I was mad that I had to go down. I had to go that low because my quality fabrics are still solid. I'm still giving high class service, you know, when I come to you and things like that. So like, it's a
cool thing though, because the point of entry is not crazy. Point of entry is, let's say $800 is the least expensive suit, but I can still I see this because you come up here often, and there's that element, like Ford did it with their Ford GT with the new one. You got this kit that you opened up and you got to pick out the paint color and this, and you created a 1/16th model of your car that you sent back, and then they made that car for you. Same thing with you. And we got to do this when you did my smoking jacket. Okay, what fabric you want? Okay, what do you want your lapel to be? What do you want? You want this hex bolt? Like, I created this thing,
a certain
and when
stitch,
I wore
a certain cut.
Oh, and I tell you, I still remember Brendan Ahern. If you're watching, you're an asshole, because the first time that I wore it, I stepped out. I felt good. I felt like on a different level. And he gave me this big old hug, and it went zzz, and it just right on the backside, and I was like, oh no, oh no.
That's like a key scratch on your car.
Yeah, exactly. And it was this. It becomes part of your identity. And it's not a huge thing. You don't have to have a suit for every day in the world where we live in. That isn't your world. But if you do have a small selection of just stellar suits when you know you put it on, okay, I'm stepping up.
What is the lead time for something like that? So I'm asking for a friend. I got a custom smoking jacket.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, it's depending on the times of the year too, because like when you're dealing with manufacturers, depending on in Europe, like, and how busy they are. But my lead times, a regular lead time is probably a month.
Okay.
Like 4 weeks. Now it doesn't say I can't get something faster. Like, I mean, I've done rush orders to where I've gotten it to them in 10 days.
They got to pay for that though.
Yeah,
got to pay for it. You have to pay for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this outrageous. You're not paying double the price or anything like that. But it's still, if I'm going to rush it like that, that means my manufacturer has to put my thing ahead of everybody else that's been in there for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So like, of course, if I'm going to skip the line, it's just like going to a club.
Yep.
If you want to skip the line at a club, you better drop that bouncer a couple $100. That's all there is to it. And it's the same thing. I'm literally looking at my manufacturer going, hey, here's a couple $100 to
put me in the front.
To put me in the front.
Yep.
And that's kind of how it is.
What do you think about today's? Do you have a certain? Like, what do you like? If you say style, like, I remember the 90s, everything was baggy jeans and Timbs, big, the hoodie sweatshirts with the collages on it. Even people were wearing their clothes backwards for a minute, dumbest shit ever. But
crisscross.
Exactly. What do you think? Remember cross colors?
Oh yeah.
Super, super mega, really bright clothes. Mm-hmm. And then we went to the whole, then we went just polar opposite from super baggy clothes to what I call nut hugger jeans and Ed Hardy. I had the gang when I was really into weightlifting, so I could wear super tight Ed Hardy shirts with these tigers and oh my God, I had so many. And
Vegas is still doing that, by the way.
Are they really? The Affliction.
Oh my gosh, it's still around. It's still around.
Oh my God,
it's still around.
You look at those guys now, and they're just like douche.
Those are the guys that have their hat on, cocked to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
And so now where we're at, and like you said earlier, we didn't have style, but what is do you say you have a certain style? What would it be? Describe your style. There you go. That's the question. Describe your personal style.
Old school, trying to bring a little bit of modernization into the old school, trying to bring whatever style is in the new, but trying to keep. My parents, people that meet me, they're like, dude, you should have been born in like 1930, like, because I grew up on old school movie, Cary Grant movie. I'm sitting here watching. I'm watching all the Woody Allen movies right now, like things like that. Like I've always been
an old soul.
I've always been an old soul.
What made me?
But I grew up with I got my oldest brother is 62. So my oldest brother is probably older than most of my friends' parents. So I grew up with an older family. My dad's 84. So I grew up in a, in an older family. So
what made
I
me
was
want
the
to do
baby
that?
at the family, and I'm 40.
I
So
watched
so
I watched the whole thing of Boardwalk Empire.
that I love that show.
I was like transmogrified watching these guys, how they dressed.
Oh yeah,
man, that was made me take a second look.
A great show that kind of brought some kind of like, it's supposed to be an old school movie show, but it brought in some modern aspects. Was Peaky Blinders.
Word.
Like, because they kept that old school, but you saw some of the designs, and those designs weren't there back in the day. They kind of modernized it a little bit to show a little bit of new, but it was all based back in the day, which was really cool. I thought that was a cool little aspect onto it. Like, it was just fun. I mean, but there's nothing, again, it's just nothing that nobody's ever not thought of.
I think as a closing question I have for you as takeaway, what would you recommend for the modern man, modern professional who may be out of the house, maybe still working in the house? What's a never fail professional outfit that may not be a three-piece? How would you recommend to dress so you could make your way into any professional situation and be taken seriously?
I mean, it's so tough now because there's so many different, like, nobody really has a dress code anymore. So like, if we're talking about suits and shirts and things like that, I really go with just pick out a couple solid two-piece suits and design it. If you're more in a casual setting, we design it more in a casual way, to where you can still dress it up with a tie and stuff like that, but then you could literally wear it with a t-shirt if you want, or t-shirt and tennis shoes if that's your style when you go walk out. But if you need to do a business meeting, you can still throw that on for a business. I think the colors, everybody used to go for black for their first suit. I think black is just blah to me. And it just is what it is. Now, why not a charcoal suit? It's still got the black essence, but then you can dress, even somebody that doesn't know how to coordinate can put that with other things. Same thing, navy suit's always going to be great. I always go, everybody, when they come to me, I need my first 3 staple suits. And they're thinking black, navy,
and gray.
I go to them, I go, why don't you do a charcoal? Because charcoal, now you got your black essence and you have your gray essence. Do a navy, and then maybe throw some kind of a brown suit, or my favorite color, and I think is just as versatile as a navy suit, is a green suit. I'm telling you, if you do a dark green suit, like has some dark undertones under it, like it can go with anything. You can dress it up with black shoes, cordovan, browns, anything. You can lighten it up. It's just as versatile, and it's just a different aspect of it. Like, you're not, if you walk in a green suit in a business meeting, they're not going to be looking at you like, why do you come in a green suit or anything like that. It's just, it shows off a little bit, but it doesn't overtake anything.
If someone wants to learn more about you and get their first suit with you, where do they go?
Probably you can go to my website, or if you know somebody, like, it's basically, if you know somebody, I like the fact that you got to know somebody to, get with me, that's kind of, for right now. Like I said,
get with us, we'll get you to them.
Yeah. It's, for me, I know I got to get to the social media aspect.
But what is give us your website for just so.
It's 3106.com. So it's all spelled out though. THIRTIONEOSIX.
There it is.
So that's the problem too, where I gotta spell it out every time. It can't just be 3106.com.
Or just click the link in the description.
Yeah, just click the link in the description.
It'll be there.
Man, Adam, I appreciate you being here and sharing some wisdom.
Yeah, it was
joining
fun.
us.
I always have fun talking with you guys. So
trust me, as soon as we shut everything off, we're going to talk about my smoking jacket for my birthday this year.
That's right. Well, with that, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.